Hi, I'm Marcus,
And I'm Nick.
and we are Working Class Nerds.
We're the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Buzzsprout. Hopefully we get on some more soon, but we do things very slowly around here. Tell your friends. Feel free to leave us some stars or a review. It can really help us get found. On Twitter, I am at MarcusB814.
And I am at Nick Vern, NickVern.
And today is Thursday, February 22nd, 2018. Today's topic, PC versus console gaming. The great debate.
Also this week, we have our first guest to the podcast, Dent. Welcome, Dent, and thanks for coming on. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, thank you.
Well, I'm a nerd like you guys. Play a ton of games. I'm in a whole bunch of the geek culture. Love myself the Star Wars, the Star Treks, most science fiction. I eat that stuff up.
All of it?
For the most part.
So the big question before you go on is, what do you like better, Star Trek or Star Wars?
Oh boy,
because this is fighting words.
this could be a 3-hour podcast.
It
or
isn't.
30-second.
I like them both for different reasons.
Oh, okay.
They're both very good for what they portray. Star Wars is more of the high fantasy sci-fi which I enjoy, but then Star Trek they try to base it more in reality and science and hard science fiction type stuff, plus a lot of social commentary, which is always good.
Yeah, I can respect that. Sure.
Okay.
Totally. So what games are you playing currently?
Games. I have gotten to the Deep Blue Sea with Subnautica.
Which I saw the other night, and it was wild. I could never do it.
I got it over the weekend, and I already have like over a day of time into it.
Can you explain what it is? Because I had no idea what it was until I saw your stream.
Right. So it's a survival game where you're stranded on pretty much an ocean planet. There are only like 2 islands you can actually walk on, but you swim around, collect resources, make discovery about the former inhabitants, and try to cure yourself of a infection that you acquire while adventuring around.
Would you say it's like No Man's Sky?
It's very similar to No Man's Sky, except you're on one planet instead of planet hopping.
Sure.
Right. Very cool.
And it's not procedurally generated. It's a static world. So everyone who you play the game has the same map.
Okay.
So it's not like how No Man's Sky, when you go to a new system, as soon as you hit that system, that's when the planets are generated. And when you land on the planet, that's when the planet's itself is generated. So
right.
This is enemies static. Oh yeah. There's plenty of enemies to deal with. The Leviathans are the big bads that
right. Giant sea monsters, basically.
Yeah, they've eaten one of my sea moths already. So
wow,
that's awesome.
No, it's not. not when you're 500 meters down and you're exploring a wreck and you have half your oxygen left and you're like, oh crap, I gotta go up.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you play any other games?
Well, I'm playing Star Wars: The Old Republic with you, Marcus. I'm on your Sunday night team, and you've guest starred on my team a couple times.
It's funny, the Imperial side versus the Republic, because my team is Imperial and yours is Republic, and there is a clear difference between the two.
Yeah, mine's better.
That was awesome.
I always preferred the Republic on the storyline and everything, so I'm happy to lead that team. I've been running that team for everyone for a while now.
So I know Marcus runs the Sunday night raid team. Do you also have a raid team on Sunday night that's just on the Republic side, or is it a different day of the week?
No, I'm on Marcus's team on Sunday, so it's Imperial, and then
okay, right.
I have I organize cats on Monday night.
Okay, cool.
So he does Monday nights Republic side.
Right.
And believe it or not, he's the only ops team on the Republic side in our guild.
Wow. Yep. Okay. Cool.
That's great.
Very cool.
It's fun. And what else was I playing?
Mainly just. Oh, go ahead.
I've been playing a little bit of GTA recently.
GTA 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask this question, because this is the ultimate Grand Theft Auto question. Do you actually play it, or do you just get in your car and run over hookers? Because I'm just being honest, when I play that game, I'll do one mission, and then I just run over hookers.
Every time.
Yeah.
I play the missions a lot, and then it also depends on what I feel like doing. I'm like, all right, let me drive normal for like 5 seconds, and I'm like, all right, I'm bored, and just start running down people, or see how high of a cop rating I can get.
Yeah, see if you can get all the way up to 5 stars, and then try to get out of it.
Yeah, that which there are ways of getting out of it,
but it almost never happens.
Yeah.
I remember hopping on GTA 5 with some of my college friends, and we would just go to this one pier and get like some ridiculous supercar, and then go to the end of this one pier and just start shooting people until the cops came. We'd get 5 stars. Then you had to plow through all the cops down the pier because there's only one way out in the car.
I know the one.
And then just try to escape. And I think only one person did it out of probably 50 times we tried to play it. But
well,
it's fun.
For me, I bought it when it first came out for the Xbox because I had an Xbox then and I really wanted it. And then I played it, and then I was like, the game doesn't run good on an Xbox.
Oh, right, sure.
So then
we'll get into that later.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then I got it for the PC, but I never played it. I ran over 100 hookers, and then I just stopped playing.
Well, I have it for both PC and console. I have it on my PS4, but I got it on Steam when it was on sale because I wanted to play around with the cheats and the mods.
Right,
and have a little fun with that.
Sure.
It does make a difference when you can do that.
Yeah, it's fun. There's some wild mods out there that you can play around with.
Right.
For sure. Well, awesome. Well, I'm super happy you could come onto the show today.
Me too. Very much welcome.
Yeah.
It's great talking to you.
So, Nick, did you get to play any games this week, or was it all work and no play like last episode?
Well, I have. So last week I was plagued with the flu everyone's been hearing about. So I've had, a bunch of hours to just sit in my room and shiver from the fever and, play games between coughing fits. So I was able to essentially finish Shadow of War, which took forever.
Cool.
As I've mentioned before, there's 4 acts into the story of Shadow of War. The first act is basically just showing the player how to fight orcs properly so that when you're faced with like hordes and hordes of them later, you can handle it. The second act is most of the game. I'd say it's about 80% of the game is Act 2. That's where you get to recruit orcs into your army and actually start conquering sections of Mordor. And that's what I've been working on basically the whole time we've been doing this podcast.
Wait a minute. So 80% of it is Act 2. See, that would drive me crazy because I'd be like, oh, I'm good. I'm almost there.
Right.
I'm almost there.
Right.
And it
Act
never
2
comes.
is always the longest part.
Right.
I played the first one, Shadow of Mordor, and my son actually has played through Shadow of War as well.
Excellent.
Wow. I feel like I'm like in like the Twilight Zone because I haven't played it at all.
Right. Well, yeah. We'll get into that later. But so finally, I got into Act 3, and Act 3 is basically just like the story wrap up. Has some crazy story details. I don't want to get into it for spoiler reasons because I know Marcus is going to play, but if you've played BioShock 1, there's some crazy plot twists at the end of Act 3. Then Act 4 is basically the end game of Shadow of War. So the only thing you're really doing in Act 4 is going back and conquering over those same four fortresses in Mordor over and over. And it's sort of Talion being in perpetual war against the forces of Mordor, just holding them back until the events of Lord of the Rings.
So,
that's cool.
All right, so the end game. would you say that the end game is almost like raiding? Do you have to group up, or is it solo play?
No, it's solo play, but it's really grindy. So you have to you recruit the orcs in Act 2, like I said.
Sure.
But the max level of the game is 60. And at the end of Act 3, you're usually... I did like everything I possibly could, and I was about level 40 or so, 42 or something like that. So
at the end of Act 3?
Yes. In Act 4, the max level is 60. So there's 10 stages to Act 4. They call it the Shadow Wars, and you're just constantly taking over and defending the big fortresses in Mordor. But the problem is you have to individually level up all your orc captains, and there's about 20 or so, plus 4 war chiefs and an overlord per fortress. So you have to level up your captains to somewhat match the invading forces so that you can defend them properly. But you have to do that individually, and it can take like, a few hours per captain just to get them to the proper level, because they spawn in at, mid-20s or something like that. And you could have, like, for instance, the beginning of the Shadow Wars, I have captains spawning in that are against me in their mid-30s, early 40s. They're basically my level. But all the armies are still the same level from when I did it in the story campaign earlier, and I was like, the low 20s or something like that. So I have to make up that big level difference. And it takes a long time to do.
So do you actually play as those orcs?
No, you play alongside them. You play as Talion.
So basically you have to do the mission, and as you do the mission, they rank up.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You can do different, I forget the exact name of them, but they're missions where orcs fight each other and they gain ranks among the orc army. And things like that. But so I haven't played through all of Act 4, but basically you just keep conquering and defending those same fortresses. And then you get a little 1-minute cutscene that shows directly how Talion fits in with the Lord of the Rings, which is cool. I thought it was cool. I'm glad I didn't play through like another 40 hours of gameplay of just grinding to see the 1-minute cutscene, so I just looked it up, which is kind of cheating. I'll admit that. but
definitely cheating.
It's definitely cheating.
Who hasn't done that, though?
But it was fulfilling. I really enjoyed the story. If you're any kind of Lord of the Rings fan, I definitely recommend going through and playing it. I might not recommend playing through all of the Shadow Wars. I would play through Act 3 and then kind of look it up. But I thought it was a definitely satisfying tie-in to Lord of the Rings.
Dent, did you say you played Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War?
Mordor.
You like it?
Yeah, I liked it. That was fun. I like the mechanics. Just the open worldness of it is entertaining. I like all of the open world type games where you get a lot of freedom to do whatever you want at your own rate.
Right. Yeah, me too. Are you have you ever played any of the Batman like Arkham games?
Yes. I think I've played Asylum. What are they? It's
I don't remember, to be honest. I have never played them.
I played 3 of them.
Okay. I think there's 4 or 5. But anyways, my point was, or what I was trying to get at is, I've heard that Shadow of Mordor and not so much Shadow of War, but Shadow of Mordor is sort of modeled after those games in terms of mechanics of beating up large, groups of enemies and then progressing to the story and stuff like that. But at the same time being able to explore the big open world.
But you don't get a Batmobile in Shadow of War.
That's true. I mean, you get some
you get the Ring of Power. I mean, it's my precious.
Yeah, but you don't get a ring until Shadow of War, though. Shadow of Mordor, you get the Wraith, and that's it.
Yeah, but the Batmobile.
I will say the Batmobile trumps any Karagor or Graug that you get to ride.
All right. I'm just going to give up there.
Well, Marcus, so let me know what you've been up to this week. Seems like you have a whole big old chunk in the show notes here. I want to hear about your week and what's been going on with you.
Wow, it's been crazy for the past 2 weeks. So first of all, I'm super excited that on March 1st, I'm going to be a guest on OtuniCast.
What?
Yeah, it's a SOTOR podcast. I'm super blessed to have the chance to go on and chat about the game with Tio and Chill. I think they're the longest running SOTOR podcast that there is. So I'm super excited for that. It's almost like, a dream, because, you listen to something for so long and you feel like you're a part of their podcast, and now I get to be a part of their podcast. So that's really I'm super excited for it.
Congratulations, man. That's a really big milestone for you, especially. I know how long you've been listening to them.
I'm excited for it. In work news, I had a project get postponed this week because the customer's kids came down with the flu, as yourself.
Right. It's no joke.
Right. So I'm in the shop. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do for the next couple days? So I decided to build my wife a farm table, which is the new craze. Glue some boards together, sand them, stain them, make it beautiful. So she was super excited to get that. I'll be posting a picture of it when this podcast releases, because now that she has the table all set up and it's pretty, she'll allow for it. But coming with building a table, now I have to buy new chairs.
Oh, all right.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, and we had to buy a new light for the ceiling
To match the ambiance of the room that the new farm table brings.
Exactly.
Because the farm table now matches the little coffee table he made like 8 months ago.
Yes. Right. So now every piece of furniture inside my dining room was hand built by me, which is it's a super cool
awesome.
feeling. Yeah, it's super cool.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
So that's been my real life, and in my nightlife, I call it. In SWTOR news, I've been playing a lot of the Bounty Hunter class story. I've never played it yet. I know game's been out 6 years, but I've only done the Sith Warrior and the Jedi Knight storyline. So
wait, let me stop you there for 1 second. How many storylines are there? Aren't there like 8 or 10?
8.
There are a total of 8 stories.
Right, and you've only played 2?
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't play. So I didn't play the game for 6 years. So I bought it, played it for 2 weeks, and I was like, Call of Duty is way better than this game.
Oh, okay. I remember.
And then I got back into it, and I was playing a lot of the class stories, the 2 of them, and then I got sucked into these ops teams.
Oh, okay.
And so now
like
I'm
the
getting
end
back
game
into
stuff,
it.
right?
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I understand.
The
Go
stories
ahead,
the stories are phenomenal. What they did when the game released.
Oh my God!
I've enjoyed all. I've played all of them. I have, I think, every type of class. But maybe one of each. I have more Jedi Knights and Sith Warriors than I have anything else.
Well, exactly. So, but I'm really enjoying the Bounty Hunter story.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, I like Mako's sassiness.
Yep. Of all of the class stories, the weakest one I think is the counselor.
So I have a level 35 counselor. She's named after my dog, and she's Maggie B, because all of my characters are a family member. And
hold on, you can't just gloss over that.
What do you mean?
So how many characters do you have
I don't
started
know.
that you just didn't do anything with?
There's Mark, USB, me.
Right.
There's Marcus B. There's Julia B. There's Carrie B. There's Carrie B. Sniper.
Oh.
There's Bailey B.
Oh yeah, the mother-in-law's dog.
Mr. Boosh. and Maggie B. So
that's all you have?
Yeah, listen, that's it. But I they're all in the class story. But in order to do it again, I'll probably, believe it or not, wipe them and start over.
Okay.
Because at this point, I don't know the story going on.
Right.
So it sounds like you missed a couple. Like, I don't think it was it last summer? It could have been last summer. They had this
Dark versus Light.
DVL, yeah.
They did it, and I just didn't care about it.
No, a couple of us in the guild were able to complete it fully, which
wow.
It took the guild for me to do it. Without the help of them, there was no way I would have been able to complete it. But it was epic. We were doing a whole bunch of the old content together, doing flashpoints, it's like everything.
Right.
But it allowed me to go through and do some of the finish some of the class storylines that I kind of just put to the wayside, and restart a couple of new characters. I actually had to buy a couple of character slots to do it because I don't like deleting anything.
I understand that.
I hear you. I hate overrating any save files.
Yep. That's why I have a 4 terabyte hard drive, a 1 terabyte solid state, a 2 terabyte regular hard drive, and then a 250 gig solid state to hold the operating system.
Wait, so how do you get all that extra storage space?
A giant
on an Xbox or a PS4. I thought you could only plug in one external hard drive.
We'll talk about that later. So Dent was talking about the guild. We're a part of the AIE guild. They're a great community across a bunch of different games they play. If you'd like more information about it, you can go to aie-guild.org, or if you're in SOTOR, you can do a /C join AIE LFO. That's AIE looking for officer, and somebody can find one of the officers and get you in the guild.
Yep.
And then
we're
you
on the
can
Starforge server.
Thank you very much, Dent. And that's a great save. So we'd love to play with you, and we'd love to have you guys run with us on a Sunday or a Monday night if we ever need a fill-in. So this week on the Sunday night ops team that Dent and I are in, we went into the Gods from the Machine, and we got through all four bosses that are available right now. First try, no wiping.
Yep,
which was awesome.
It was revenge for the week before.
Exactly. Which, because the week before
we got our butts kicked.
Yeah, we went in the week before, and we wiped against Nahut, and Nahut is a really tough fight. From the mechanics to the DPS race, I mean, it really takes the entire team to do it. Between the healers healing, the tank doing it, the DPS doing their job, it's really an all-around fight. I don't know if there's another fight in the game that takes everybody to do it. Maybe the Underlurker.
You read my mind.
But I've never beat the Underlurker, so I can't say that.
So
go
ahead.
I was just going to say that I've beat him because I haven't. We've tried numerous times, but one of our ops team members and our guildmate, I'm going to shout out to Dr. Sotor. He said he's going to get us to do it, so we're going to hold him to that.
So I have a question. When you say wiping, see, I'm just thinking back to my paintball days when wiping means if you get shot with a paintball and it breaks, then the paint's on you. You'd normally be out, but then you can wipe the paint off and cheat. So is wiping some kind of cheating in SOTOR against the boss?
We're all dead.
That just means the entire team has perished due to various things, usually being health below 0.
That's like a nice way to say it. Your health is below 0. I'm sorry.
You all got murderlated.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Got it.
And then on my Wednesday night raid team, the SUP team, ARV's team, we took down the Gods from the Machine. And it was great because, getting through it at a timely manner always makes time, because when the 5th boss is available, we'll be able to, go through the whole op and we're not using it. But then during the whole op, I was like, I want to do Tithe in hard mode. I want to do it in hard mode. We can do this. So we took a chance. I mean, you want to talk about wiping? We got killed by the trash. Finally, after we killed the trash, we got into Tithe.
What do you mean the trash?
So the trash is the first, regular NPCs.
Oh, okay.
The first enemies.
The minions,
the enemies
so to speak.
Between the entrance and the first the bosses.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
The build-up.
Right.
So we get through the trash, finally.
The time sinks.
Yeah.
Right.
We played till 11:30 at night, so it was probably 11:10 when we got through the trash. We get to Tithe. Let me tell you something. Tithe wasn't too friendly.
That in hard mode, that's in veteran mode, that's a tricky fight. We've attempted it a few times just for the funs of it as well. And getting used to doing that inversion is tricky.
Well,
because on top of that, you also still have to deal with all the other mechanics that are part of the fight.
Well, exactly. And we didn't know about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the Gods from the Machine, and then we're going to go do that fight every week, and we're going to try to start doing some hard mode stuff. So anyway, the first inversion, we're all over the map, and then he does it, and we all go flying off the platform. So we tried something new, and then we tried something new. Needless to say, 11:30 came. I think we were down to 91% health. So next week we'll try it again, and we'll all do a little research.
It's just learning the dance, like with any of the other fights. You just have to learn the dance.
Right. In other news, BioWare released the roadmap. So there was a giant uproar about it. I was super anxious about getting this roadmap because BioWare was so quiet for so long for the game. And they finally did it. And instead of talking about the next 3 months, they only talked about the next 60 days, which there's been some talk about how the game is shutting down and this and that. I've moved past that. I have a theory, and we'll call it the conspiracy theory of the night on why it's only 60 days, but we'll get there in a minute.
Am I going to talk you off a ledge?
No. You're not going to have to talk me off the ledge. It's actually a good theory, and hopefully people agree. So on March 13th, they're going to release the final boss from the Gods from Machine, Isaacs, which I know, Dent, you're going to be excited for. I'm going to be excited for. I can't wait to finish this operation.
It's always exciting to get a new boss on in Ops. I've been liking the way they've been doing it this time around, where they release a boss every. I wish it was a little sooner than every couple of months, but like maybe one a month. That way you have time to learn the new boss and don't have to struggle as much.
I agree, and I'm really excited to hear if they're going to make another one this year. But what they're doing for the new Isaacs boss is they're holding a special event for, I'm going to call them the hardcore ops teams, that can do the veteran mode. So if you can beat him between game update 5.8, which is in March, to game update 5.9, which is in April, you're going to get a special, you're going to get a new achievement, a special and unique title, and a new and very exciting legacy-based reward. And they'll give you that reward during game update at the launch of 5.9, the Anathema Conspiracy.
It also looked like, just in general, that they're going back to doing subscriber rewards. They did that during like Kotet.
Yep, I remember.
In Coffee, they did a build up. You get pieces of what was it? HK, the helmet, the weapons, the jetpack. You get Nico's guns. You got the speeder, the swoop. So it looks like they're going back to that, which is kind of exciting, getting that stuff again.
Well, I think they should. I mean, I don't know. I've never played WoW. Actually, that's not true. I downloaded it once. I played it for about 3 seconds, and I said, nope. So then I went back to StoTor. So with that, I think they should give out rewards. You know, for guys like yourself and me and whoever else subscribes, give us something, and it doesn't have to be a lot. Just give us something to look forward to keep us intrigued in the game.
Yeah, and I know a couple of games like Star Trek Online does that. They have rewards. So if you're subscribed at a certain level for a certain amount of time, you get like extra bonuses, character perks. The final one, I think, is an actual starship.
Wow. You're gonna make me want to go back.
Oh yeah, I've played that.
All right, I shouldn't say go back. I should say download.
Yeah, that one's fun. It's free. It's totally free to play. That one's fun as well. I have a couple of characters over there. I have done WoW, but it just never had been my favorite.
Sure.
I feel like it's tough to get into, or at least it would be tough for me to get into the lore of like a World of Warcraft, having no background in something like that. You know what I mean?
And it's been around so long. I feel like if you were just a new guy starting, it would take you so long to go through that content,
right?
Just to be able to get to endgame,
right? To be able to catch up with all the new content coming out, it would take forever,
right?
But for Star Wars, I'm not really an MMO guy, as most of the listeners know, but for Star Wars, it would be relatively easy for me to hop into that world lore wise, because I like Star Wars and I know what the Force is and Jedi and versus Sith.
That's why I fell in love with it.
Sure. So it's easy to jump into that universe, but for like a World of Warcraft, or in my case for Star Trek, because I'm not super familiar with Star Trek, it would be definitely a lot harder for me to get into that game.
Yeah, because a lot of it is based on the lore of
right.
previous series and whatnot.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
A lot of the cool parts that you geek out, like I'll geek out over, are because
they reference movies or parts of the TV show or something like that.
Or they get the actors to voice act their characters.
Oh, even better. That's really cool. That's awesome. But that would go right over my head And those are aspects that make the game great.
Right. Also in Game Update 5.8, we're getting some companions back. Vector, Ashara, and now you can romance Arkin.
Whoa.
I'm not going to. I think I killed him. He's dead. He's dead in one of my characters, so sorry, bro. No romance here. In 5.9, we're getting Felix Arreso, Akave, and this is a big one for me because I'm playing the bounty hunter right now. Mako is coming back. The sassy Mako is coming back.
I have no idea who that is.
Well, she's one of the companions for the bounty hunter story.
Oh, okay.
When we went through Knights of the Eternal Throne and you were asleep for 5 years.
Carbonite.
Thank you. You were in Carbonite for 5 years. And when you came back, all your companions were gone, and they've slowly been bringing them back.
Oh, okay.
Something that I'm really excited for is in April of Game Update 5.9, they called it the Anathema Conspiracy, which really is intriguing in the name because the Emperor destroyed the planet Anathema, which, Nick, you don't know that.
He didn't really destroy it. He sucked all the life out of it.
Well, that's essentially destroying it. He didn't blow the planet up like the Death Star, but yes. Right. So he sucked the life out of it, and that's where this storyline that we've been running for the year is going to end. So it's awesome to go back to it. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a flashpoint, which, Dent, I don't know your opinion on the flashpoints versus, a basic chapter story.
I think it's a different way of them telling the story. I don't have any problems with it. They did it for the lead up to Shadow of Revan. There were those 4 flashpoints.
Yeah, Battle of Rishi.
Yep,
and a few others. Yeah.
There were the ones on Korriban and Tython. There was Manon, and then
I love the Manon one.
There was one more. Rakata Prime.
Yes. Good call. So either way, I personally like the flashpoints because a few of us on Thursday nights will get together and play. I call it small group Thursdays, where a few of us will get together and we'll do a flashpoint or something. You can do them in like 45 minutes or so, maybe less. But what I like about the flashpoint is they can get a story out in it, put a couple cutscenes, but then you can do it with a group and still get that group content feel through a flashpoint
without having to do the longer
operation.
Right,
and you need 8 people, so it's a 4-person. I really like that.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
Also, too, they said that we've added powerful new augments for those who need additional steps to help take down Isaacs in Master Mode, or simply want to be OP. So they just released 2 new sets of augments, and I'm just being honest, I don't have either one of the new augments. So
yeah, I think I'm the 228 ones right now.
Me too. So now they're going to release, I'm guessing it's going to be a 242 augment. I'm not real sure.
It's to their defense, I think it's a way for them to keep crafting relevant in the game, even though it's just one branch of crafting.
Right.
So I understand why they're doing it, and again, it's more content.
Right. Oh, I agree. So other than that, the last thing they brought up was beyond April, as we look back to 2017 and now beyond the conclusion of the Traitor storyline, which ends with Anathema Conspiracy, we're planning to continue delivering content in the same manner throughout 2018. Or should I say 2018. When you look at the total year, you've received a wide variety of both multiplayer and solo activities, including new story, strongholds, Starfighter updates, a new Warzone, 2 new flashpoints, and a new operation, along with many quality of life improvements. So with that statement from Keith Koenig, I think they did it right this year. So they know that they don't have the money, and this is my conspiracy theory.
Oh, boy.
They don't have the money to soak into marketing in the sense of putting it in the movie theaters with every new Star Wars movie. They just don't. EA is not backing it, whatever it is. So my thought is they said, well, let's keep the player base that we have happy. I personally love the way they're dropping the operations bosses because it keeps the ops teams relevant. Because I know that when the new boss drops, and Dent, I know you're going to agree with me, Dent and I were the only ones in the guild that ran with almost every raid team except maybe the Thursday night, unless it was available.
Rack Evan was also one of those that were a hit on every team.
Okay, so perfect. So Rack Evan too.
I think it was Rack. I think it was just Rack Evan because we were
maybe
talking.
Bishop too.
I don't think he ran with the Thursday night. I think Rack Evan has, but other than that, there was 1 week that I ran with each team and downed them on each one.
Wow,
that's an intense week.
Who killed Skyva first?
Skyva.
We know who.
Yeah.
Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. All right. Just wanted to. Yeah. Sorry. But no, it's something I'm proud of. But what I was going to say is, go ahead.
To my team's defense, a couple of the guys were having connectivity issues.
Did he just do that? Did he just do that?
No.
I
did. I'm just saying those are facts.
I love it. So what I'm trying to say is, I like how they release the ops bosses. One of my teammates on the Wednesday night team last night, because I asked this question last night to get everybody's opinion, one of them said, if you've been playing this game since the beginning, you were getting 2 operations at a time, the whole thing. And then all of a sudden it goes away for 2 years. And then when they bring it back, it's 1 boss at a time. But personally, I think it's because they're trying to keep you subscribed, which keeps you intrigued in the game. And they're giving you updates on the game across the board to keep you intrigued.
Mm-hmm. To keep your subscription worth it.
Correct. Because some of the ops teams, they'll beat the new operation and then unsub until the next one's released. You agree to that, Dan?
Yeah, there's definitely an aspect of maintaining subscribers. There's also the aspect that their development team is a lot smaller than they originally started with, so their resources are limited, and they have to focus on what's going to make the majority of the player base happy. So, like when they did the chapters with Coffee and Kotet, they were releasing a chapter a month. Except for that first month, they did like 10 of them at a time, all at once.
That was for Knights of the Eternal Throne.
Yeah. And then as they released chapters, they also released more companions and had little submissions. So it kept the player base, I think, involved.
Right.
But then they definitely neglected the operation teams. There wasn't a new operation since Temporal Sacrifice when Shadow Rubbing had come out. So
yeah, it was 2 years without one.
Right.
It's a crazy amount of time.
But then they also released what is it for one PvP map? They did the uprisings in between the chapters. They did a couple of maps for PvP, which PvP is an important aspect of the game. I mean, it's not something I usually partake in unless I'm looking for punishment for whatever reason.
Right.
So, going with that, I think if they give us another year of this, they're going to keep the player base together. That's what I'm looking forward to. With all the Anthem stuff, that article, yeah, I think they are on their coattails a little bit. Their development team is down. Whatever extra guys they had, they sucked them over to Anthem, which I would have done the same thing. But here's my conspiracy theory before we take a break, because it's almost that time.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 60 days, they're going to announce the expansion. That's my thought. I think in 60 days or less, they're going to tell us that we're getting another operation. We're getting more content, whatever that may be. Operation is number one. I think they're going to release one boss at a time again because it keeps us intrigued. And to top it off, I think they're going to announce the big expansion, which is 6.0, which it's going to be the next storyline. I think it's going to be chapter-based, but I don't think it's going to be as big as Knights of the Eternal Throne or the Knights of the Fallen Empire storyline. I think it's going to be, 2 or 3 chapters, a bunch of flashpoints to connect them, maybe do a chapter, 2 or 3 flashpoints, a chapter, 2 or 3 flashpoints. This is all my...
I think you're overestimating the amount of flashpoints. We'll probably get one here or there. I think you're right. It's mostly going to be chapter based if they do something, but it will be a combination of chapters with maybe a flashpoint in between, kind of like when you were doing class storylines. Like you do 2 planets, or you do a planet, you do a flashpoint, that type of thing.
Sure. Well, I guess I was exaggerating the amount of flashpoints, but what I'm saying is I think it's going to be release a chapter, release a flashpoint, release a chapter, release a flashpoint, and it'll almost, I don't want to say calm down the development process, but calm down the development process and allow their small development team to keep providing us with good content. That's my tinfoil hat, I guess I should say.
Sure.
Conspiracy theory. One last note is I was all excited. I finally found in stock a Titan XP. If anybody doesn't know what that is, that's the GPU from NVIDIA. It's their highest end GPU.
GPU meaning graphics card for a PC. For those of you who are completely clueless with computers like I am.
So every video card on their website, on NVIDIA's website, said sold out.
Every single one.
Every single one. 1080 Ti, 1070s, 1060s, 1050s, every one. So then the Titan showed buy now. I clicked the button. I said, I'll sell my 2 video cards that I have because I currently have 2 1070s. I said, I'll sell them. Get some of my money back. Do it. So I bought it. They said in 1 to 2 days it'll ship. I'll have it. I'll be happy. So a week and a half has gone by and it's still saying that it's processing. So I called them today and they're like, oh, it's been back ordered for a little while. Do you have a date that it'll be back? No. I said, okay, cancel the order, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a little ridiculous.
Thanks, NVIDIA. You really stuck it to me and broke my heart.
Wah.
Yeah.
That is a little ridiculous. Oh, go ahead,
At least
Dan.
you didn't pre-sell your video cards.
Well, all right, so I guess we can get into that if you really want. I did. So in the process, I sold my...
I'm sorry.
So I did sell my 2 video cards on eBay. I'll be shipping them out this week. So I have a small Alienware 13-inch laptop, which is good. So for the foreseeable future, I will be playing SOTOR on that. Unless I really feel like paying $100 more over MSRP, I can get a Star Wars Titan of all things on eBay or on NVIDIA's not NVIDIA, eBay or Amazon or something like that. But who knows how long it's going to take them to credit me my money.
Right. That's too funny.
So anyways, Nick, you ready to take a break?
Yeah, let's do this.
Dent, we'll see you in a couple minutes.
We'll be right back. And we're back.
I'm throwing my saber.
Throwing your saber.
So he's a tank.
I'm a tank, so usually when I start off, we do a little countdown, and then I say like throw or jump, because I'm either throwing my lightsaber first or I'm jumping into the mix first.
I had absolutely no idea what the fuck you were talking about. Anyways, on to today's topic, PC gaming versus console gaming. We're going to discuss the major differences between them, generally speaking. as well as the differences between the two communities of PC gaming and console gaming, and also compare and contrast the most important characteristic of the two, the graphics. And obviously there's a big difference there. So Dent, just for clarification's sake, what do you typically play on?
Currently it's PC, but I also have myself a Xbox and a PlayStation 4.
Nice. So you have both.
And
are they just the standard issues of the Xbox One and then the PS4?
Yeah.
Or are they the Pro or
no,
Xbox One X?
It's the standard versions. I don't have the Pro or the X.
Right. Got it.
Nick?
I have a standard issue PlayStation 4. I also have a laptop that can do gaming stuff, sort of. It's an Asus laptop that has a pretty good amount of RAM, pretty good processor, but it's got an NVIDIA GTX 950M, so it's a okay graphics card, not great. So it can sort of do gaming stuff, but usually only on medium or high at the most settings. But so I'm mostly a console gamer is the bottom line. Marcus?
PC.
Marcus is live and die by PC.
Well, no. So I started the game in definitely console.
Right.
If you're, in my opinion, as a general statement, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful to anybody, but if you have $400 to spend, you buy a console.
Right.
It's going to do whatever you need it to do. It's a lot easier, but it'll give you that mid-range
performance,
right?
Yeah, graphically. Whatever.
Yeah. Me, I spend money on my computer, so
like most people spend money on their boat. It's just a money pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's the truth. And it used to be that you buy a PC and it lasts you 4, 5, 6 years with the parts you have. But the way technology is growing, you can't keep up. But it seems like the consoles are keeping up-ish.
Right. Like they find ways to keep themselves relevant. Well, so first and foremost, I just want to go through some quick differences between the two, generally speaking. So obviously a PC is a lot more expensive than a console.
A lot.
If you're to get the same performance as a console, you need to spend probably, say the average console price is, just call it $400. Yeah. To get the similar performance where you can play games at 30 frames per second in 1080 in any new game, you're gonna at least spend $600 on a PC.
At least. I don't even know if you can build a computer for $600.
Right.
Well, you can.
Yeah, with a monitor and a keyboard and mouse, and yeah.
With those qualifiers, it gets harder.
Right. Okay. Well, so let's just say just the desktop.
Right. Because you still need to buy a TV.
Right.
You buy a console.
That's true. Okay. So then let's take those qualifiers out. Let's say just comparing a console and to a desktop by itself. I think a PC is more expensive right off the bat.
Well, I'll let you know, because I have that PS4 that's sitting right behind you.
Right.
I'm going to get the new God of War when it comes out. I think it comes out April 20th.
Mm-hmm.
I loved God of War on the PS2 and 3. So when it comes out, I'll get it, and I'll let you know the graphics, how they look.
Right. Yeah, that's a good test because you have a PC that can run 4K.
I do run 4K on 2 monitors.
Right. That's pretty legit. And you have a 4K TV to run with your PS4 Pro. That's a pretty straightforward graphics comparison.
I do know that with the Xbox One X, a friend at work who just bought one, he's like, it's like playing a different console, like the graphics and everything, just for whatever reason, just so much better than the standard issue.
Right. So the card that's in it, it's basically standard. It's basically the video card that's in the Xbox One X, if I'm not mistaken, equals like a GTX. I don't know if it's the 770 or the 970. It's powerful. The CPU is it's an i7 type.
right?
Because it's obviously smaller. I mean, the RAM, I'm sure it's 16 gigs. It's a beast of a machine.
Yeah, the Xbox One X is more powerful than the PS4 Pro.
Yes.
And I remember just being, when it was called like the Scorpion or whatever, it was the project name, that it was just a beast of a machine that could compete with some of the higher end PCs.
Right.
Ish. So I will right off the bat concede that mouse and keyboard for a first person shooter is hands down the way to go. As far as
yes.
a controller versus mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
FPSs are so much better with a mouse and keyboard because you have that ability for the more detailed aiming.
Right. If with your mouse,
clumsiness of the of a controller.
But it is really comfortable, to sit with a controller on your lap, and play a game.
That's true.
Well, it's the whole: do you want to lean in or do you want to lean back? If
That's
you
a good
want to lean
point.
back, you're going to play a console most of the time. If you want to lean in, you're on a PC.
So I guess it all comes down to
speaking, it's like a comfort level.
Sure, it all comes down to how big is your beer belly. Because if you have a big old belly, like I did or do currently, then you don't want to be leaning forward on a mouse and keyboard. You want to lean back so that all that extra adipose tissue is not getting shoved up into your diaphragm and inhibiting your breathing.
The doctor's coming out.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Well, anyways, but I can also see like in SOTOR where you have, I know, albeit I haven't played very much, but I've watched Marcus play several times, and you have all those extra abilities on your number keys at the top of the keyboard, and that's just more functions than there are buttons on a normal controller. So I can see where, although SOTOR's not a first-person shooter, there are definitely advantages to having a keyboard like that,
So Marcus actually doesn't roll his face back and forth on the keyboard?
Well, it depends. If I'm playing a Marauder, I am hitting the amount of buttons that I'm hitting at any given time are insane.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Same thing with it's anything with like MMOs. It's very hard to play these style of games with a controller. I've tried it with like DC
Universe Online.
DCU Online. I've tried that on the PlayStation. It plays differently. You just don't feel. I never felt like you had the same level of control because then I tried it on the PC and I was a lot happier with the way it played.
I can see that being the case.
They have Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy 14 as MMOs on the PlayStation.
Yes.
I don't know if they're on the Xbox, but I know they're on the PlayStation, and I can't imagine those games on a console.
Right.
The keyboard is just amazing in every way.
Well, with like Elder Scrolls Online, I can see that working on the console because that's where that game actually originated. It's Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. So I'm pretty sure it's a very similar play style. I haven't played it myself, so I can't really speak to it. I'm just making assumptions.
Right, I didn't play it either. But
which one?
Elder Scrolls Online. I played I had a terrible laptop. It was like $200 or something. And I downloaded Elder Scrolls Online. I think it was the beta, actually. I got a beta code. And I tried playing it. Obviously, it didn't work because it was integrated graphics and whatever. But so I don't remember playing much of it. But I can see how that might work because if it's using the same sort of mechanics as a Skyrim or Oblivion or Morrowind or the other earlier Elder Scroll games, you don't have so many abilities like a SOTOR. So because the base game or the game that it's based off of is meant to be used with a controller, you have your spells in one hand and then your melee attacks in the other, sort of shoulder buttons. So the mechanics are built for a controller. So if they use the same type of combat mechanics in Elder Scrolls Online, I can see how that'll fit nicely with a controller. But generally, MMOs, I can see being a lot better on a keyboard, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But the one thing that like old school with consoles are the platformers. Your Marios, your Sonics, your Zeldas.
Right?
I mean, that was your bread and butter growing up, at least for me.
Sure.
Um,
Totally.
Getting that first Nintendo Entertainment System and playing that, not because there was no saving games for the most part. You leave it on, you pause it, you go do whatever, and then come back where your game was still playing.
Or it was frozen.
Uh,
Dun,
let's,
dun,
not,
dun, dun.
let's not talk about that.
Right. That's true. You know, that's a great point, Dad. I hadn't thought about platformers. For platformers, I definitely prefer a controller.
Well,
And
believe it or not now, Mass Effect,
yeah.
I prefer a controller.
Yeah, see, that's the type of game I'm referring to when I say
Absolutely.
I'll concede for generally for MMOs and first person shooters that a keyboard's superior, but most other games I'd say I'd rather a controller.
So I was playing Destiny 2 for a while, which we've talked about.
Right.
Mhm.
And I enjoyed it on my Xbox Elite controller
Yep.
more than I enjoyed the keyboard and mouse for it.
Really?
I don't know if it was because I was playing the campaign and I wanted to relax and play it.
Right.
I guess I don't know. When I play Star Wars, I'm in it. My hands are on the desk and I'm immersed in it, and I'm as close as I can get to that 27-inch monitor as I possibly can. And I'm enjoying every moment of it. But in other games, I'm just like, you know what? I want to lean back. I want to have that controller in your hand.
Right.
And you just do it. Maybe it's because I didn't do the end game stuff. I don't know. But Call of Duty, keyboard and mouse.
Right. But to your point, like with Mass Effect, that's all I played it on was the Xbox when that came out.
Right. Me too.
Even when Andromeda came out, I got it on console. I played it majority of it on console. I did try it on the PC, and it just didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
I play it on the PC because of what my computer can do. You know, the biggest thing that I'm finding is with a 4K monitor, it takes so much to process that graphic.
Right, the extra pixels. Yeah.
You know, I'll get games at, 40 frames a second max with two 1070s running it.
Wow.
And
for those of you that don't know what that is, there's 1080 is the second highest.
1080 Ti and then the Titan.
Right, so there's the 1080, the 1080 Ti, and then the Titan. And so the 1070 is still a really, really, really good graphics card, and he was running two in conjunction. So,
but not all games support two of them.
Oh, see that I didn't even know.
Right. So, in 2018 or 2018, not all the newer games don't support two cards.
Huh.
I don't know why they haven't developed I don't know. Years ago, the more cards you had, the better game ran. And now it's more or less better on one card. Hence why I'm getting the Titan. Or I was getting the Titan.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. But some games I love the controller. Grand Theft Auto controller. Really, truly, there's only, first person shooter, yes, keyboard and mouse. Star Wars MMOs you have to play. Like your traditional
MMOs, right? Yeah.
But even I downloaded Elder Scrolls because I've been searching for that second game to play.
Right.
And I didn't like Elder Scrolls because, believe it or not, they use WASD to walk, and I didn't like it.
What's wrong with WASD to walk?
In an MMO, you usually use
the mouse, right?
You use your left mouse and right mouse together, and that walks. It was just a weird feeling for me.
I used WASD.
Yeah, I every time I played a game on PC, I've used WASD too. I played a good bit of Overwatch. Well, I guess it's a first-person shooter.
That's a MOBA.
No, Overwatch is a first-person shooter.
It's a MOBA.
Yeah, it's a MOBA first-person shooter.
Battle Arena.
Right. Yeah, I got sucked into the Battle Arena for a few months there.
Overwatch is great.
I liked it a lot. I just it kind of came and went because then I started playing other stuff, but
I never played it on a console.
I didn't either. And I have a couple friends who have it on console, but I think that's definitely better played on a mouse and keyboard, just because it's a first person semi-shoot. Yeah, it's a shooter essentially. You're playing it from the first person, and there's the gun mechanics for most of the characters. So I think it's essentially a first person shooter. But
the price of consoles is the $300 to $400 range.
Right.
The Xbox One X I think is $500.
Right,
but that's coming down.
Yeah.
Right. So you give it. Yeah, it is. I mean, you give it by Christmas, it'll be $400. It'll be matching the PS4 Pro for sure.
Right.
So
the PS4 Pro is for.
I got mine on super discount for $359.
PS4 Pro is $390. It's $400.
All right. So either way, so you talk $400 because I don't even think they're making the regular PlayStations anymore. It's all pros.
Really?
They stopped making the slims.
I don't have any data.
No, they're still doing.
No, there's still some available, but I don't think they're actually producing the slims anymore. It's all pros. Because as the new games come out, they don't want you to have the slim anymore because it's harder and harder to run them on it. Because games are growing so much graphically that the slims and the original Xbox Ones can't keep up with it. So they had to come out with this new system because of 4K.
Right, in order to compete with PC at all.
Yeah.
Because you can't have 1080 versus 4K.
But the cost alone, if you want to be a PC gamer, okay, you want to play, if you don't mind playing a game on medium settings, okay, you can buy a mid-level PC, get you through a year or 2 or 3, but you're going to be at the tail end of the graphical quality.
Well, with the cost of entry for gaming on a console is a lot cheaper than the cost of entry for the PC. And there's also a certain level of like the consoles, for the most part, you plug them in, you turn them on, you go, you play.
There's a big
PC. The PC, there's a little bit more involved with getting a game going, configuring it. I mean, a lot of times nowadays, like the graphic cards, the manufacturers have applications that help saying, all right, for what you have, this is the optimal settings for this game you want to play. So that kind of takes that bit a little out of it. But you're always having to tweak and figure out why all of a sudden are you not running the way you were yesterday. So it's a little bit more involved, and for some people that's fine. Other people it's a barrier.
Right. There's definitely a convenience factor that gives a check mark into the console.
So would you would you say a console is a casual gamer and a PC gamer is a
I definitely wouldn't say that. I would. There are definitely hardcore gamers that use console and because they love it. That's where their community is. That's where the games they want to play are. It's just
but
console. I guess it's just easier to get into it. It's very good for a casual player to get into it, but then there are those hardcore players that love the console.
Right.
So then, would you say the PC gamer is an enthusiast?
To an extent, yeah.
Well, I think it's
there's a bit of that into it, but everyone is enthusiastic about something. So the enthusiast can be a console gamer. They have you can get your PS4, your Nintendo Switch, your Xbox One. You could, build yourself a retro Pi and play some classic games.
True. I think the console community is definitely more convenient to get right into. You know what I mean? Speaking of the communities for the two, there's really no question that the console community for Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus is more integrated with like the friend system, being able to join a party easily. Whereas on a PC, there's different gaming avenues that support the games like Steam or Origin.
Well,
And they don't
yeah,
have dedicated
and those
community. No, go ahead.
no, yeah, and those like Steam and Origin, Steam especially, has definitely changed the game for PC gaming. When they came out, that was like groundbreaking. You know, like I could just download the game, purchase it, download it, and be off and playing. And it kind of has a built-in community there, and that it kind of emulates what the consoles do, but it's still
falls short.
Yeah, it's still not quite there yet, at least in my opinion.
I agree. That's where I was going with that. I was going to say, although there are platforms, so to speak, for having a friends list and joining parties and things like that, it's not quite the same. It's not as streamlined as on a console, where you just turn it on, plug it in, like you said, and then my friends are on, and you just hop in a party and away you go. It's not quite the same. It's a little more involved. You might need a Discord to chat properly, or a Skype call, or something like that.
Absolutely. For myself, when I play on the PC, I didn't really play with anybody because none of my friends play on a PC.
Right.
I have a couple, but everybody plays a different game where the community is in the Xbox or the PlayStations. Right. They want you sign in. Oh, Nick Vern 51 just signed into the PlayStation Network. Oh, that asshole's playing Call of Duty. I'm going to jump in and shoot him. Just like, on the Xbox, Dent Masterson just clicked in. Oh, shit.
How'd you know my screen name?
I just know everything. Just ask my wife. But the he just signed in. And he's playing Subnautica. Well, I'm going to try to jump in that water and shoot his fucking ship down and make him drown. Well, whatever it is. And you probably can't do that, but I'm just
making a point.
Exactly. I'm making a point. But my point is, you could be playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 in Origin, and I'm playing Star Wars The Old Republic. I would never even know you're playing Battlefront because it's two different avenues to get to the game.
Right.
But with Discord, we're connected, and I say, Dent's playing Star Wars Battlefront 2. I'm like, shoot his fucking ass.
Right.
And then I'll message Jim and said, that was me.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. So it's the community aspect is much easier on a console.
Right.
And it's more community driven. Unless you have a friends list that's been playing on the PC for years, it's really hard to meet new people unless you're in a guild or something like that in the PC community.
Right.
Because it's hard. I find it that way. I played Call of Duty for years on the PC all alone because I didn't meet anybody and I didn't talk to anybody. Where on the PlayStation and the Xbox, you get into a game and you have a headset on, you can hear everybody screaming. And then you end up talking to this guy from Wisconsin, and that guy from Wisconsin, he makes cheese for a living, but he also whoops ass at Call of Duty. And you're like, let's do this again. And next thing you know, you guys are friends. He's on your friends list, and you end up playing together for the next 3 months.
Sure. Right. And, both communities can have their own levels of sort of, I think toxicity is the word that kids use nowadays. Or, annoying people or whatever online.
Yeah.
But I think that's because the player base is similar now in terms of age demographic. You have a range or a good age spread in both PC and console gaming. Or at least that's been my experience. Like when I was playing Overwatch on PC, I'd come across plenty of, 12-year-olds swearing at me that they banged my mom last night after they beat me in Overwatch. You know what I mean? So, I think PC might sway a little older just because of the price range. Definitely requires you to have a steady income, obviously, versus a console gamer can, a kid can ask for a console for Christmas and then have it for a few years.
Absolutely.
Way more, and that's way more feasible to ask for than a high-end PC, and most kids. Go ahead, Dad.
No, it's because they designed the consoles to have a certain shelf life. It's up to 10 years now.
Right.
So
right.
You get one early on, and technically can last you 10 years before it's retired.
Right.
So the going thing is like the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X compared to what a mid-high range PC is right now.
Sure.
But 3 years from now, a PC will blow those things out of the water because of technology and the upgradability to a PC.
Right. Because you can't really upgrade a console.
No, you can't.
Right.
You can't change anything.
That's a major downfall for consoles. Yeah. PCs can be upgraded modularly, whereas a console can. Sorry.
There was this one time when the N64 had a memory upgrade module you can install into it.
Ooh, Mario Kart on the 64 was legit.
Everything on the 64 was legit. Ocarina of Time? That was my jam.
GoldenEye?
So with Rogue Squadron was like the first game that they...
Rogue Squadron. I had Rogue Squadron for PC back in the day and used a terrible joystick from Radio Shack. And I died so many times playing that because I was like 6. It was awesome.
That was like I was at the point where I had unlocked every ship on that thing.
That's awesome.
So but it brings us back to cost. And I can't emphasize this enough. Your bang for your buck is buying a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Switch, which really the Switch isn't even in the same category. The Switch is, hey, we're coming out with a generation old system, but we're going to put out another Mario and we're going to put out another Zelda and everybody's going to buy it and like it, even though the graphics are terrible. But it's Nintendo.
Right. Bias. Basically, like if you like Nintendo's...
Apple.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. It's super convenient. You turn it on, plug it. It's going to go perfect every time.
Every time.
And if you like their intellectual properties, Zelda, Mario, whatever. Donkey Kong. I don't know when the last time they put out a Donkey Kong game was, but
shows my age.
Splatoon, I think, is a big seller, whatever. So they, if you like our games, you're going to buy our system and play them on it. But it's not. They're not in the same. You're right. They're not in the same category as a PlayStation or an Xbox.
But they still sell.
They do
because of those games.
Right. They have a special, royal quality to them almost.
But then you bring it to my PC, which i7 8700K, 32 gigs of ridiculous RGB DDR4 RAM, soon to be two 1070s.
Currently. Hopefully
water-cooled all through. I mean...
Wait, water-cooled?
Yeah.
I thought you couldn't mix water with electronics.
Well, whatever. It's antifreeze.
It's water-cooled.
Yeah, whatever. It's an insane system. But I must be $3,000 into it.
Sure.
Over the course of the years. It has to be $3,000. 2,500? Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know.
But I couldn't buy that.
A 1,200 watt power supply. It was the biggest one they had at the time. Why not buy it, right? But my point is, through all this is...
I hate to see your electric bill.
No kidding.
Jesus.
Talk to my wife. She'll tell you how expensive it is. I don't ask those questions. She writes the check. I just put the money in the account. So, but what I'm trying to say is the cost of a PC... And I'm different than everybody else because I don't do anything else.
Yeah, but not necessarily. Amongst enthusiast PC gamers, they want their PC to be the max. And that's definitely a pretty large demographic of PC gamers.
I'm one of those guys. As soon as my game can't play Ultra,
you're freaking out and you need to
get
upgrade.
wiggy.
Yeah.
I get wiggy.
Sure.
I don't want, I'm like, my computer's junk.
Right. For you, that's the whole purpose of playing games on a PC because you want the extra super mega ultra
But can
graphics.
you even see the difference?
Yeah, for sure.
I like that.
But I don't know if I can. I don't actually know if I can see the difference.
Well,
like I can tell the difference between my Xbox One S versus the PlayStation. I mean, between my PC. But I don't really know if I can actually tell the difference versus the Pro or the Xbox One X in my PC.
That is where you might not see a noticeable difference. Because if they're both 4K, if they're both running at 60 frames per second or something like that. I mean, I know I can definitely tell the difference between 30 and 60. It's a tiny difference in frame rate, but you can tell the difference for sure.
Well, it's smoother.
Right. So if they're both running at 4K, both running at 60 frames per second, and playing on, comparable monitors or TVs or whatever, then I don't think you'd really be able to tell the difference. But I think your PC is more powerful, with a Titan or even two 1070s than a console, an Xbox One X or a PS4 Pro would be hardware-wise. So your PC could keep up with 4K games at 60 frames per second for a longer period of time, whereas the console might not be able to always run games at 60 frames per second at that 4K over time as games become larger and more graphically demanding.
Yeah. And that's why games on the console need to be downloaded into the system.
Right.
And enable the game running.
That's a great point. Now, so I'm not quite as technically savvy as you two probably are. Why does that help so much to have a game be downloaded into the system? Because if it reads it off the disk, isn't it?
Because the optical drives read at a slower speed than a spindle disk, like a traditional hard drive, or
right.
Even if you're lucky enough to have a solid state. Solid state, there's
it's way faster. I recognize this as that.
Yeah, it's like snap of your fingers, it's done.
Right.
So, to increase the performance of the game, they put them on the drives.
Okay. So the hard drive will read way faster than your optical drive for the disk is. Okay. Gotcha.
My solid states run great. That's something that changed the whole world for me. You turn on your computer, it boots in 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it is. It's up, running, ready to go.
Yeah.
From post to login, it's like 10 seconds.
So
my laptop has a solid state drive, and it's awesome. I mean, it's way faster than a hard drive.
But again, it brings me back to the console versus PC. You get all of the perks with a PC. All of them.
Right.
But the console saves you money, and you spend it once, and you don't upgrade it for 5-10 years. Until the next one comes out, and then you say, okay, I got to spend another $500, but you're done.
Right.
You buy a PC, it'll last you 3 years. If you're not crazy and a crazy enthusiast, it's going to last you 3 years, and then you're upgrading something. But your computer is only as good as your slowest part.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. That's that's what bottlenecks it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. My computer just happens to be insane. I tell everybody NASA wants it, but
NASA.
Well, whatever. But the reality is if you don't have the money to invest in it, you can play on the PC, but you're almost better buying the console just for the reason of cost versus longevity.
Right. Right.
That's my opinion.
I agree.
So, Nick, why do you like the PlayStation versus the Xbox?
That is a great question. So I guess the ultimate question comes nowadays. I can see back when it was like
the Xbox 360.
Yeah, versus the PS3 or something, or the original Xbox versus the PS2 versus whatever. You might be able to make some more valid comparisons on like graphical performance or things like that. But with the PS4 versus Xbox One, that's when I was originally buying this, generation of consoles. And I had one buddy who had the Xbox One and several friends who had PS4s. So it ultimately came down to I'm going to be playing with more of my friends on a PS4.
The community.
The community is what made the difference. And if you have more friends for playing Xbox, I would have bought an Xbox. Or you know what I mean?
I do.
I
do, absolutely.
I think the only difference besides the community would be the controllers. And I will say in the Xbox 360 versus PS3, I thought the 3 controllers were way worse than the Xbox 360 controllers. I like the 360 way better.
There's nothing better than the Xbox controller.
And then in this generation, I think the PS4 controllers are way better, and the margin's a lot smaller. But that being said, I still think the Xbox One controller is the best controller in the market. If I was playing on a PC and wanted to play a PC game with a controller, I would definitely use an Xbox controller.
My wife got me that. I think my wife Googled best Christmas gift for a gamer, and it was Xbox, the Elite controller, because when I opened it, I was like, oh, cool. And then I realized what I could do with it. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is the fucking sweetest controller ever.
Yeah,
it's as close to a keyboard as you can get.
Yeah, it's incredible. And even just the craftsmanship, the feel of the triggers and stuff like that, nothing feels cheap. Nothing feels like it's like, plastic or anything. All the joints are perfect. There's no side-to-side play and anything.
You can adjust all the settings in it.
Yeah, when with the Elite controller, you can adjust all the settings, the pressure, sensitivity and everything.
Extra buttons or tabs, I guess, that you can pick, so you can actually add abilities to that controller.
Right. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Hands down, Xbox makes the best controllers.
Right.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I will say, if you're comparing the base Xbox controller to the PS4 controller, I think the PS4 controller is close enough to where it's not a big deal,
Yeah, the redesign they did for the PS4 is a lot better. If it has a better hand feel than previous generations.
Right. No fucking way.
Go ahead, Dent.
Sorry, Dent. I'm just
okay.
I'm
then
sorry. No.
Well, I'm just saying, like previous generations of PlayStations, the hand feel it just felt very awkward.
Yeah, it was miles apart.
But I'm sorry, I got to interject. The thumbsticks in the middle of the controller are terrible. The Xbox with the thumbstick at the top, it's comfortable. It's a natural feeling.
Yes.
Versus the PlayStation, your thumbs are in the middle and you feel like you're doing aerobics with your two thumbs because they're stretched out in the middle of that controller.
Well, the reason why the PlayStation 4 with this current generation of it, it was the bumper and trigger buttons that I'm much more comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Previously, they were just 2 buttons up top, and it just never felt comfortable to hold.
Right.
But with the Xbox, the way that it fits in your hand, it's always been very comfortable.
Right. And I think there's almost an inward ankle that your hands are being held at with the Xbox controller. That's been consistent across all of their controllers. I think that's a little more comfortable, especially since, like you mentioned before, when you're holding a controller, it's more you're leaning back with it in your lap, so your arms are sort of coming in anyway. Whereas all the PlayStation controllers, your hands are almost parallel to each other, and it's not quite as comfortable because now your wrists are cocked a little bit and at an angle. That's not quite as comfortable. It's not as ergonomic.
Not a natural position for your wrists.
Right.
Well, but nothing beats the N64 controller.
But okay, so yes, you're right, Dent. You know why? Because the thumbstick is on the top.
It depends on how you held it.
That's true. It's on the top if you have the middle column.
You could hold it 3 separate ways.
I only held it one. Yeah. You guys in your extreme Zelda playing to get more slashes.
GoldenEye. That was
GoldenEye.
I played a lot of GoldenEye. Just saying GoldenEye just reminds me of when I finally got the golden gun.
Oh, yeah.
It just changed my life. It changed my life. So, Dent, why do you pick the PC over a console?
I don't.
Ooh.
It's what I feel like playing at the time and what game I want to play at the time determines on where I play it. You brought up like early in the conversation, like Mass Effect. Mm-hmm. I tried playing it on the PC. I didn't like playing it on the PC, even though it's more of a shooter game. I felt better playing it on the console.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not which one's better. It's which one I want, what game I want to play and where I want to play it that I feel comfortable and will enjoy it more. Like, all right, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I have it. I picked it up for the PlayStation. It was on sale. And I played around with it, but then my son was like, "Hey, you want to play together?" And we were like, "Yeah." So we played split screen with each other and just had a blast. He ended up kicking my butt more than once, majority of the time.
As per usual in dad versus son video games.
Yeah, he's finally surpassed me.
That's pretty cool.
I knew this day would come one day.
I was just gonna say that day always comes.
Right.
Yes, like back in the day, we played like the Lego Star Wars games.
Oh, that's cool.
We played it on the 360.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd want to really play that on a PC.
Right. Yeah, that type of game wouldn't lend itself to a keyboard and mouse, and I think that's what I was sort of saying before.
But it is available for the PC, and it's also like it's one of those. It's a game like that can be a community game. Like you have a bunch of people, you're all playing the same screen, you'll have the same goals and whatnot, and just have fun.
Right.
So again, it all depends on what you want to play, how you want to play it.
That's true. And you know what's a good point too? You don't have to use the keyboard and mouse on a PC.
No, I have a controller somewhere around here for my PC.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. But like going back to the Lego Star Wars, you play that game to play with the people around you.
I also played it to completion, so.
Whoa, you 100%ed it?
I got close. I was at 92%.
Yeah, so either way, I like my PC. Maybe it's because I don't want to be bothered, to be honest.
Oh, like you don't... Yeah, you're not in it for the community, so...
Correct. I'm in it for the game.
Right.
I'm super positive all the time. I would say I'm too excited all the time. I'm that guy that's always excited about doing something.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
No. That's not you. Not from what I've seen.
Right, but when I sign in, what I hated about the Xbox, because I had a PlayStation 3, but I never had the online service. I played it for Heavy Rain, which if you have a PlayStation 3, play Heavy Rain. It's one of the best games ever made. But
shout out to Heavy Rain, hashtag not a sponsor.
Yeah, hashtag not a sponsor. But what I'm saying is I hated signing into the Xbox and I wanted to go play Mass Effect, and every single person in the world is sending me like a group invite to come play Call of Duty.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was just a bombardment of people
constantly,
and I finally just got fed up. And I took the month-long curve, how to learn how to keyboard and mouse it, because it takes a month.
Oh, yeah, a good month of playing, like, every day.
Yeah, and once you learn it, then you're all set, but until then, I'm a PC gamer. I don't see myself going to a console. I own one, and I'm staring at it in its box right now.
Yeah, it's been in the box for at least like a week.
Yeah,
I was here like a week ago doing something.
The only reason why I have that is for the PlayStation Vue TV service.
Right,
because fuck Comcast.
We didn't even get into that. I know.
See you later, Comcast. That's for another day. Why nobody should have cable TV anymore?
Well, I'll agree with you on that. I'm doing the conversion to YouTube TV.
Oh, exactly. And all I'm going to say is Comcast told me, I have a daughter, she's 2. In order to have Disney Junior, which is the stupidest fucking channel on the planet.
Yep.
In order to get that with Comcast, you have to have HBO. So you have to pay for their top service to get fucking Disney Junior. It's Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Like, come on. It doesn't compare to Game of Thrones, even though I don't watch Game of Thrones. But same thing. Well,
it's just terrible.
Dent, thanks so much, man.
Dent, it's been great having you on, I must say.
No, this is fun.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah, great time.
hopefully, when one of the big in 61 days when the Star Wars big update comes on, and I was correct about the big expansion coming, we can have you back on.
Sure.
Hey,
Cool.
have me on anytime. It was fun.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of Working Class Nerds.